Well, hello there, Sister Wives watchers and Chick Chatters. We're back with another Sister Wives episode 19, right before our mid-season break.
Yeah, so TLC dropped a little truth bomb on us, I suppose, and said that they're doing a mid-season break until the spring. I mean, usually when we say things, I'm like, I don't know if that's true. I feel like I'm just in denial, but TLC said it themselves. There's no episodes scheduled after next week, after the 20th episode. So we shall see. We will cover whatever they give us.
40 episodes?
I don't know what they're doing. So that's the other thing we were wondering. There's been these rumors that there's 26 episodes. Now they're doing a mid-season finale. Are they coming back to do 6 episodes, or is it actually longer than that?
Why take a break for 6 episodes?
I have no idea.
I know we were talking about how it could be because of Garrison, but if you think about it, when they come back, they're coming back right around the anniversary. So isn't that a little bit weird timing? If they would keep going, they'd be done by then at least.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to wonder any intentions around what they're thinking with Garrison, but yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know.
I don't know either, but apparently we're taking a little break. Apparently we'll be back in the spring. I haven't been able to find a timeline on when that is. They just said the spring. So we'll get into episode 19. We'll be back next week for sure. This episode is called Behold, I Come Like a Thief.
I really think it's more like everything is a big deal. Everything that they talked about was like, it's such a big deal.
What's a really big deal is all the email that they've been sending each other.
Emails about the big deals?
About the property, it's a big deal.
Yeah, me being here and having this conversation with these girls right here is a big deal. Meri talking to Jenelle right now, big deal. Everything was a big deal.
The conversation between Jenelle and Meri was this, I sent an email and he sent an email, and I'm like, what is going on?
Lots of detail.
Yes, I know we're from Michigan, so I know we over enunciate, but I don't know. That's just a lot for me. Anyways, we come into Maddie and Caleb's house. Janelle says she's visiting, but I feel like she's just kind of living there for now.
It's like her halfway house.
It kind of is like her halfway. I mean, she's gonna buy land with them, isn't she?
Right. This is like her halfway house to getting on the land.
Exactly. So
from her apartment in Flagstaff to her halfway house in North Carolina, land that she wants to name Tata, which I know we're not there yet, but I just have to say it's gonna throw me off if they really do name this land Tata, because that's what my husband's nickname.
Oh, but it's Taeda.
It's still pronounced the same. His is Tada. Tata. His whole family calls him Tata.
They already have a website and merch and all kinds of stuff, so that's definitely the name.
Maybe I'll have to get my husband some shirts.
You should. I might have to get your husband some shirts. So Jenelle is talking about how she's going to collect some documentation. She's been meeting with a lawyer, and she thinks she can set up a pretty good case that all of this land, that she's entitled to it, even if her name isn't on it. And she talks about how she thought it was really dumb that she wasn't involved in the titling process in the beginning. And I think it's really dumb too, Jenelle, because you're always the one on here advocating for all the other women that are involved in plural marriage, but you never thought of yourself. And I think that this is really sad, and I hope it still works out for them. I mean, it's not sold.
I get why they might have let Kody handle all this stuff back in the day, but ever since becoming a public polygamist, you think these people would all be involved in everything at this point. They were with Vegas.
That's why I think Jenelle is thinking, as usual, pretty rationally here, this is a very easy fix. I know that they can't maybe sell it all right away or whatever, but as long as they just add all their names equally to the titles, then we don't need lawyers and all of that. It's just very obvious that all of it gets split 4 ways. And that is a very simple solution. You can go into the land place and fix all of that in a couple of weeks.
Right, but wouldn't Kody have to be the one to do it because he's on every piece, I guess?
Well, they would all have to be involved, yeah. And it seems like they're having a hard time gathering with each other, but that would be the smartest, most efficient way, at least to get the ball rolling. But instead, Jenelle and Meri are going to have to spend and waste money on lawyers and all of this.
You know how they go to Flagstaff at one point and they walk the property? I wonder why they don't just show up at Kody and Robyn's house and they're like, all right, let's talk about this right here and now and get this settled. Sometimes you have to ambush somebody.
I agree. And later on, when they actually talk to each other, Meri does suggest that. But I don't think Kody is wrong when he accuses Jenelle of being a relationship coward. Sometimes she backs away from this kind of conflict. And I think that's why she's in this position really in the first place. I think you made a good point. At the time, they did let Kody deal with all of that stuff, even if he dealt with it in a really dumb way. Nobody was really planning to get a divorce. So I get that you don't build your life around protecting your assets and all of that. But I also think that now they've really all kind of fumbled the bag, and they're going to have to spend money to get the bag back.
Cody's holding it with
Because
Robyn.
Cody's holding it.
I don't even know what to do with it.
He doesn't want to do a damn thing with it. He wants to just look at it. It's a special bag.
He just wants to keep it.
It's a bag. And we pop over briefly to see Christine and David set up their Moab B&B. And they're talking about how they're going to decorate it, which I think is a little strange because she already has all the decorations in the back of the truck.
I don't think she's got them all. Maybe she just means like how they want to decorate the walls and stuff. I don't know.
Possible.
Yeah. I think it's interesting that she said that for years she's been talking about wanting to own a B&B, but then why didn't they help Meri with the B&B? I think Christine was one of the main people that was like, it's not a good idea.
Yeah, I don't remember where Christine's head was at.
I think they were all against Meri except Kody.
At that point, they were all worried that Meri was going to buy that with family money and then leave the family, which was honestly very possible at that point. That's what she should have done.
I remember that little meeting that they had, and I was like, well, I gotta get up and go. You won't be seeing me for a while because I gotta make $40,000.
I gotta make dills and dills. Every time I see this, before I really look at it, I think Christine's smoking a cigarette.
I did too at first. I was like,
it freaks me out. It's so weird, but
she's got tattoos, got bald men, cigarettes.
No, just kidding. It's a pen, and she is running a business.
I don't know what the hell she's writing on that pad. It looks like she's writing upside down now.
She strikes me as the kind of person who is very old school in their. She drew on a notepad where she's going to put all the furniture and all of that, measured all the walls. That's wonderful. But I think our generation, we would probably do that on a laptop or keep that information on a phone.
I'm a little bit old school because I do like to write out like lists on pieces of paper.
I love notebooks, but I also know that's kind of unusual for like nowadays.
I get it.
What is she saying?
I don't know. 5 things on each line. You know what she's saying? She's saying David's better than Kody on every damn line. Because every time we see David and Christine, they have to compare David to Kody. Unprovoked, even.
Especially when Janelle's around. We'll get to it, but the second Jenelle walked into their door, she goes, is it okay I didn't knock? Some of our family was not okay.
Well, they do it here too when they talk about the shrimp room and the giraffe room. Yeah. She's like, David just spits out these ideas, but sometimes I think they're wild. But Kody was never involved, so David's so much better.
It's okay to decide we want to have a shrimp room. Well, what is a shrimp room?
I understand the comparisons here and there because we're always reflecting on Sister Wives, so I get that. But we know that David is better than Kody. We've been rooting for you bitches to leave since day one. We've been rooting for you bitches to leave. Kody, all of you pretty much. You don't have to tell us.
Right. We know. It's very obvious to all of us. And then we pop over to Kody, speaking of the devil himself, and he's got a bunch of paint, and they're going to paint for what?
Bunch of paint and a bunch of some other man's kids.
So true.
Anyway, so they're painting the picnic tables from Robyn's dad, which I thought there was only one, but apparently there's 4. He built one for every backyard. It's one of those, I think, community gifts that they got for their, what was it? The communion episode? What was that? The commitment. The commitment ceremony.
Nobody there had a communion.
Well, Kody is a failed priest.
Kody is a failed priest.
Yeah.
He's failed lots of things.
They're painting these benches this crazy blue color, which I like the color, but it just feels weird in the nature. Maybe that's defined them better, but I probably would have went for like nice, maybe emerald green or something.
Even just a dark brown, real basic, classic kind of just seal it off.
Sure.
I do love this blue though. I think it's a really pretty blue.
Did this paint dry ridiculously fast? How come they were able to eat on it within moments?
Right. I have a couple theories because I wondered the same thing. You know how I like to try to figure things out. So here he says, that's it, we're done. And they zoom out on the episode, and they're sitting on only sanded picnic tables. So the other 2 picnic tables weren't done. Unless he was just saying we're done with this one and he didn't say that, then maybe they left and Kody did the rest of them, or they did the rest of them another time, and then they came back another time and had their hot dog roast. By the way, do people call them hot dog roasts?
I've never heard that before in my life.
Okay, I was just checking. Maybe they call it that somewhere else, but
I thought it could be a white people thing, but then I'm like, I'm white people. Why wouldn't I know about this?
I'm white people too. Maybe grill some hot dogs, but a hot dog roast?
How are you roasting them?
Well, they're putting them over the fire, I think.
I guess.
Which is a roast, but I've never heard that called a hot dog roast.
They're strange individuals, them Browns.
They are. So Robyn gives us this whole kind of spiel about uncle, grandpa, papa, father.
Dad. Yeah. She had a weekend dad, and we did the same exact thing to her own kids. I guess her mom was just chilling in church one day, and they were family friends with Uncle Grandpa here. And his wife nudged her and was like, "Hey, what do you think of my husband? He can come hang out with you on the weekends. I only want him Monday through Friday.
I only need him during the work week."
I think that is so much stranger than every so many days to switch around. But to live in different states and then only come to the state on the weekends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's a bizarre situation. And it also makes me think Robyn seems to be relatively close with this man. She does not have good things to say about her biological father. The fact that this man could just come over on the weekends and be such a presence in her life. I mean, her dad must have really sucked.
Yeah, and I think she projects a lot of what happened with her onto her own kids with Preston and everything else.
Yeah, definitely. I think she recreated that whole scenario her damn self.
Yep, so this way her kids will feel the same way about Uncle Grandpa as they did about cousin dad Kody. Because isn't he related to them? Like
Kody?
Well, isn't he related to David Jessup, who is related to Christine, who is like, aren't they all related?
Cody's related to David? I didn't know that.
I've heard that David is related to Christine, but I've also heard that he's like a distant cousin or something of Kody's.
I mean,
they're all
communities.
They're all linked.
Exactly.
Very much so.
Oh man. So they start off the painting project. We are going to come back over there, but you're right. I had several theories about how we were able to paint.
Several? My one theory I had was that maybe they already had 2 done. Cody went there one day to just kind of look at the land, because apparently he likes to just kind of look around and be like, I'm keeping it.
I think he just drives around on it sometimes, probably.
Well,
That's possible, but when he said this, they zoomed out and they were just sitting on the sanded one still. They weren't blue yet.
I don't get their attachment so much to this land, him and Robyn, because don't they have the same view from their house? They do the same things on this new house. I'm sure they got a lot of property on this new house. You can already have bonfires and crap outside.
I wrote the same thing down in my notes when Kody gets all nostalgic later on about the same thing. You can do these same exact things. When he says that the last 2 years of my memories here are happy because I've been with Robyn and our kids. Well, you can do that anywhere. You don't need to be on Coyote Pass with the angels singing over you in order to enjoy your family, or do you?
Then build you and Robyn a house and sell the other acres, and you and Robyn keep what you want and buy the rest of them out.
That's really what it seems like they're continuing to wrestle about. They know they need to sell it, but it seems like they don't agree on yet how much they need to sell of it, whether that's all of it or pieces.
Cody's so lucky he found a woman that's just as resistant to thinking about what to do next as he is.
You're right about that.
They both love avoiding everything. I'm sorry I haven't brought it up. I don't want to think about this. Sad.
We finally get back around to where we started.
And his view of Jenelle is so 90s. Look at her outfit. I haven't worn my hair like that since I was like in
not even just 90s, but she almost looks like one of those like classic FLDS women.
No.
A little bit. I know her hair's not braided, but it's in the same kind of fashion. And she's all the way covered up.
She is very much covered
up.
Neck
and shoulders.
Mm-hmm. Well, she loves Meri's wood. She compliments Meri on her home yet again.
She goes, it's just a door.
It's just a door.
It's like, fuck off.
She said, I'm here on business, Jenelle.
Don't talk to me about my door.
I'm not here for pleasantries.
I mean, honestly, it's pretty obvious that it's a door. Poor Jenelle. She feels so awkward when she talks to Meri. I like your door. She's just trying to compliment her.
She's so sweet. She tries so hard. Oh, Meri, I love that wood in the background.
It's a
what
door.
What is that, a mahogany? So they meet up to talk about the land, and Meri's hair is parted so far to the side. I don't understand what's going on here because normally it's not this to the side. The way that the camera is hitting her this way, and then when she's on the zoom, it just goes from whoosh to whoosh to whoosh.
Yeah. It looks like she's just blowing around in the wind out there, which I guess is a good metaphor for what Meri is doing.
Yep. And look at all that beautiful jewelry, but not a single Sister Wives closet piece.
You're right. Lots of wood too.
Great.
So they talk about what their plan is for approaching Kody these days because plenty of emails have been sent and no emails are resulting in any movement. But the two of them decide openly with each other. Obviously, they both independently been talking about having a lawyer, but they openly share with each other that they have one, which I think they're both right. I think if they both have a lawyer, they have roughly the same story, they come up with each of their documents, I think they have a better chance working with each other.
Yeah.
But definitely having someone representing them individually, like Jenelle said. Jenelle's so smart, except for when it comes to her own self. She's like me. She's smart, but she has a hard time following her own advice.
Meri and Jenelle talked about how they ain't friends, but they got to work together right now on this land. They made it very apparent that they're not friends.
So apparent that the production even went back through and showed a nice highlight reel of some of their worst moments together. So just in case anyone forgot how much they dislike each other. You know, I forgot about that little conversation that they had, though, on Coyote Pass about, you're mad at me, so you can't use my pound. We've been talking about the poop pond so much.
Yeah. They were all worried about Meri having that poop pond.
They were. And you know what? I don't put it past them. I think that would be something Meri would do.
I don't even think Meri was even asking for the poop pond, was she? I just think they were all worried.
I don't think she was asking for it, but she wanted the piece of land that she wanted, and it happened to be, I think, a jar to the poop pond.
Okay.
So they wanted her to move over, and she didn't want to move over, but it had nothing to do with the poop pond for her, only for everyone else. This is why they couldn't figure it out. This is just so dumb. Arguing over a poop pond. Kody said he was going to line it and fill it with fish, but how long is that going to take, Kody?
Line the poop pond and fill it with fish? Wasn't the birds pooping in it the problem?
Well, yeah, but when you fill it with fish and stuff, don't they eat that? I don't know how ecosystems
When they poop,
I'm not an ecologist.
I have to ask my brother.
Yeah. Ask him if you line a pond and fill it with water and fish, is it just like a happy ecosystem that way, or do you have to do more?
Or will the birds still poop in it?
Well, the birds will still poop in it, but will the fish regulate the situation?
The poop?
Yeah, or do you need ducks, or how does it work? Some algae?
More birds? We can add more birds.
Add more birds.
And add ducks and goose and swans.
You gotta have a way for it to clean out. I just don't understand how that works. Oh, so we have veered off of topic. They're talking about how they need everything divided up appropriately, and it gets mentioned in somebody's, I think Meri's confessional, that this was all paid for equally, so it needs to be divided equally. And then here comes Kody in his confessional. I bought 92% of one piece alone.
92% with the family fund.
Let me tell you something, sir. I know that you're only legally married to one of your wives, but even in the case of law, being married to one wife, when you buy anything or acquire any asset, whether that comes out of your funds or whoever's funds, it's y'all's.
Yeah. How come Kody has an amount of money just for himself that he can buy 92% of one big ass pot of land?
Because Meri and Jenelle were working funding the family. I mean, not that Kody wasn't, but he was not alone.
I'm just saying this is a theory, this is alleged, but it seems like it might be glaringly obvious that he wasn't allocating the funds very well, and maybe more towards in his own favor, maybe in the private, bank account or something. I mean, he has enough extra money to buy a whole plot to himself and then help Robyn with that $1 million house.
Jenelle was talking about how she feels that she has a right to some of the money of the house when they sell it, the one that Robyn and Kody live in.
I would think so, because Robyn had what you guys were calling the McMansion, but Jenelle had like an apartment, and then she also had a small rental at one point, like a one-story small thing, and then Christine had a normal house, nothing probably over like $200,000, $300,000. Meri did have a nice house, but Meri also pays for her own stuff at this point, so I'm excluding Meri from this. But Robyn got to have this crazy mansion. How is that even equal or possible?
I have no idea. I think they tried to get away with all of that because Robyn had the youngest kids all at home, so they tried to act like that was necessary, but I don't know. I don't know.
But she was hoarding all her older ones. She could have let at least one or two of them go.
She was at that point. She still is.
Now she's got
I
like
think
3
those
of
two
them.
girls will be at home until they're married at this point, and I think that that's the unspoken, probably spoken in their house rule.
Yeah, Kody didn't even want them joining a dance team.
He's about to freak out about them possibly getting baptized. So was Robyn. That's a big step.
They're adults.
That's crazy.
Anyways.
Meri actually starts telling us in her confessional that sometimes when people bring up Kody's intentions behind the divorce and the property and all these situations that have seemed to work out not in her favor, if he was being intentional. And she says that sometimes she wonders herself. I actually feel bad for her because she has to live in her own brain and she's trying to make sense of something one way so that she can live with it. And she's got the whole public like, no, actually, he played you and you played yourself. And it's just gotta be hard.
Yeah. You know what's funny is I've been watching like older episodes randomly.
I noticed.
Yeah. And I think that Meri did think that the divorce was more her idea. I think she was manipulated into thinking that. But Robyn was dropping random and even in the confessionals about like men marrying other wives or stuff like that.
I think it happened more so when they used to have those group confessionals. I think it happened a lot more so in those than actually in real life. And I think that's why they always try to deny, well, I never said anything to her. Not in real life, but you did on that couch when you guys were all talking to each other. And let's be real, that's the most they all talk to each other as adults, probably all the time.
Yeah. She really was, I think, probably planting this seed a little bit. This is just my opinion. I mean, it could have very well just been coincidence, but I don't know. I hear at the time she had a lot of financial issues, and then her and Jessup were not getting along, and she's trying to get these kids on TV, keep them on TV. I mean, she had a long list of people interested in her, according to Kody. And I don't know where this information has been the last 10 years, but apparently there was a long list of people that were interested in her, and she chose them because they put on a good enough front for her. Like they were applying or something to be Robyn's family.
That's so true. Moving on. Jenelle brings up in her confessional, and at this point, or kind of throughout this episode, Jenelle and Kody seem to be talking to each other through these confessionals about the finances, about what could have been done. Kody's over here bringing up things like, you guys want me to do a bunch of favors, but
you don't want to do the legwork.
Yeah,
Janelle, give them a task. Give them a task. They'll do it.
I think Jenelle is the smartest person in the world to talk about. Just put the names on the titles. That's all we need to do. They can drop the lawyers at that point. There's literally no reason to need lawyers if all their names are on all the titles equally.
Right, but Kody's not going to do that.
No, he won't even answer an email.
He'll like half acknowledge that what he's doing to them is wrong, but then he'll also be like, but I also just don't want to deal with it.
I don't want to do any favors for them bitches.
But I don't just get to not deal with it. Like, you're acknowledging that what you're doing to them is wrong. You're leaving them in limbo. They put their money into this and investments in this. If you want to keep a couple slabs of land, whatever, buy them out, whatever way, whatever amount of money they put into it, give it back to them, whatever you got to do. There's an easy solution to this. If you even just want to hold on to it longer to think about it.
Yeah, no, that's what I was just thinking. The same thing. You can always sell it later, but if that's what's holding you up, don't let that hold you up. Keep that one little stupid plot of land, sell the other 3. Pay them their 25% each of your piece of land that they're owed with the money you make from the other pieces of land, and then sit on it all day long with your stupid view and your pretty wife and your quiet kids, and just be quiet and leave.
Yeah, exactly. Leave. If you want to sit on it forever, that's fine, but you don't have to force other people to.
That's the thing. It's wild and lucky that Jenelle honestly is even in the position that she can live with her kids right now, because I don't think she has very much liquid assets as far as
she still has that apartment, but in the RV.
And she has revealed to us recently, which I didn't know, that she's had kind of a side business going on, or at least a stream of income that is independent, she says, from the family. So that's probably a lot of what she's living on until she gets rested. All of her little nest egg is in Coyote Pass.
I wonder if she rents out the RV.
I would. There's a couple websites to do it. It's a really nice one.
Because Kody says the family funded her business, and the family did fund her RV. Although when you say the family funded, that means Jenelle put into it too.
So moving on to the Moab house, Christine finally does the big reveal for David, and he seems to like it. He says more than it's okay, which I guess it's okay means good. So
it's cute, but the tile brings me back to 2013. I had a table. that had
Mhm.
like the same kind of pattern.
The countertops are even
Mhm.
very 2009.
Although they're just mainly going to rent this out, I'm sure they're going to stay there every now and then whenever they
Mhm.
want to plan a trip to Moab.
Mhm.
But their big thing is renting this out for Airbnb, which I'm so curious to see their listing. I haven't actually looked it up.
I was watching a YouTuber, I can't remember who it is. They looked it up. They didn't show it on their screen, but they did find it, and they said that it was listed for about $400 a night. And that there are some nights that it's listed for 6, and that it was booked out for at least 2 months.
Wow. She's
Unless you
making
just
good money
turned
on
off
it.
bookings or something, that just was blacked out for at least 2 months.
I wonder when it comes to her being so far away from her Airbnb, does she hire a cleaning company then to come clean it after everybody
Probably
leaves,
for
I
it.
would assume?
They have some kids, I think, in Moab. Maybe they're
Oh,
gonna just throw them some dollars. I'm not sure. I'm sure Christine has thought about it and it's in her notebook somewhere.
honestly, such a good side hustle if you have the
Oh
extra
yeah.
money to buy a separate house.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. It is. And from what I understand, I think she said that it's only 2 bedrooms. There's a draft room and the shrimp room.
Yeah, well, she's able to charge so much because of where they're at,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
probably the location of the house is probably close to all those like national
Yeah.
parks and things. Because it's not like a huge house. It kind of looks like a condo
I
style,
was just gonna say
like
that it very well might be
townhouse
possible.
possible.
Possible,
But
possible.
I think it's cute. But again, we get another scene where she compares David to Kody, and she's, oh, he's just so much more fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I pop back over here. And there's a lot
It's
of
like, wow, this isn't fun. This isn't fun over here. We're not having fun. Can't dancing feet, Kody Brown fun.
look at that.
That
Fun.
looks like the face of fun. Well, they brought their whole pantry with them.
I was thinking that too. Do you know what she's doing over here? She's cracking eggs. Hard-boiled eggs. What?
They're
For
living
your
out
hot
there.
dog roast? Eggs?
And I love how he's saying these kids are becoming naturists. They have like boxes on boxes of commercial
Oh,
products right in front of us.
this is all ultra processed food. These are cookies.
Chips.
Oh, look, there's some raspberries.
Oh, good. That didn't come from the forest.
This is definitely a bag of some kind of chips.
Yeah.
Why'd you bring eggs? Are you making egg salad?
I don't know. I think they would make the stuff at home and then just bring it out there. Some of this, but I guess they really want to cook it on the fire next to
guess.
poop water.
Whatever makes them feel happy. So they're here for a hot dog roast. They're
Mhm.
gonna swing some axes.
Robyn brings up the property for about 5 seconds and then talks herself out of it because she's like, it's just too sad.
I know. Well, honestly, who's that?
That's the little one. Ariella, is that her name?
No, she was in
Oh, is
pink.
that Solomon? That's Solomon.
Okay.
He looks like Slender Man out there.
Did you see how scared I got? I was like, Cody, watch out!
Slenderman Solomon out there.
Oh man, I don't even remember what I was talking about. Cody brings up some plans for the land, and Debbie Downer Robyn wants to just be like, we're not gonna be here ever again.
Not ever.
Almost not never.
Kinda
Which prompts
seemed
Cody
like-
to want to keep the pond.
I'm not leaving. I'm not fucking leaving!
I'm holding the bag. I don't know what to do with it, but I know one thing is that I'm not leaving.
I'm not letting go of it either.
I'll bring stranger men to show him the land all day long, but I ain't gonna leave it. He can be a sovereign citizen of the poop water swamp, just like Ethan.
He wants to keep the pond so damn bad. I just don't know what he thinks he's gonna do with the pond. Why do you want to keep it so bad?
Get down in his skivvies and jump in with his kids. That's what he thinks he's gonna keep doing with his pond.
Third time in my life I ever went skinny dipping, and it was with my family.
Sounds like fun.
Oh yeah, when it's full, it's fun.
When it's full, it's fun.
It's full. It's fun.
When it's full, it's fun.
When it's full, it's fun.
I don't know why it's here, but when it's full, it's fun.
No one knows why it's here. Someone just digged it out in a donut shape, but when it's full,
When it's full,
it's fun.
it's fun.
It's fun. So we do move from here and go to Jenelle visiting.
Who's that in the background?
I think this is one of David's somebody's,
Okay.
but he's excited to see Jenelle. I mean, she's pretty great, but she didn't knock, so maybe he was startled.
Yeah, they went through this whole not knocking thing, and everybody talked about how we had to knock at Robyn's house, we had to knock at Meri's house. Jenelle doesn't knock. I don't knock either, honestly. So I understand the whole not knocking thing because I
Not
really
if I'm
don't knock.
expected. I guess I do kind of depends on the day.
Unless the door is locked, I'm probably not gonna knock if you tell me to come over.
Unless I've never been there before, then I don't even know what to do with myself.
Right. But Meri here is like, what if I'm naked walking around my house? Bitch, you were in Lehigh with children around. You were not seriously walking around your apartment naked while you had Leon in there. No.
Yeah.
No.
Although I do know there was always drama because Meri's house was kind of like a pass through.
See, and if you say that, fine, I'll accept that answer. I didn't want to use my house as a hallway, but don't tell me it's because you were going to be walking around your little section naked. For what? For who?
I bet they kept those rules. I mean, they had to because I know Robyn's only referring to when they were in Vegas because that's the only time that she was really involved. But whatever. They have a whole thing about knocking, and it just seems like every time Christine and Jenelle especially get around each other, they have to talk about how much better David is than Kody.
How much better their lives are than when they were polygamous.
Yes, even this part, she's trying to convince Isabel even about how much better it is. Isn't it great when he just figures it out? Don't you love it? It's nice.
I think her and David are a great match. I think that they're amazing together, but it's almost giving like jealous rebounding, like weirdly, obsessively comparing. Oh, I'm so much better.
We've all been there. You leave your horrible ex and then you date somebody and you're like, wow, I should have done that 75 years ago. This is great. But I think you're exactly right. Christine and Jenelle both are rebounding with David. They are, even though Jenelle ain't, whatever with David, they're both experiencing David.
Just another man that knows how to be a regular man.
Yeah. So Jenelle is having that moment herself too. I think that's why she's bringing up the family so much. Plus, it really was just their last 30 years of their life. So I understand. It's hard sometimes not to talk about an ex when you moved on too fast with another person. Because it was 2 weeks ago I was doing this with another person.
I get it, but there are times where she's in the confessional in front of David. Like,
oh, I know.
You're so much better than Kody. I tell the story about me not being able to use straws or the fact that I got chocolates thrown out on me on my birthday in the street. I'll tell that to anybody who wants to listen, but you won't catch me sitting here all day long like, oh, Dean's just so much better.
He's never thrown a chocolate at me once unless I was going to eat it.
He has ideas, and I like ideas so much better. Like, it's just constant. I don't mind it here and there, but it does feel like almost every scene we see David do anything, Christine's gonna be like, it's just so much better than Kody.
Yeah, that's true.
Except his dancing. She never said that was so much better than Kody.
And you know what? She just won't talk about it, right? She just doesn't address the dancing. She says that David has a back problem, and then she moves on, and she doesn't talk about David dancing. But
the avoidance.
You can hear in this scene, they're not explicitly stating that David's better, but they're explicitly stating how much better their lives are now without Kody.
So I suffer in plural marriage, sacrificing.
How independent they are now. Which is great. So happy.
It is a blessing. So much brown and tan in one house.
It is a lot, huh?
Yeah, but David's pretty crafty. He's so much better than Kody. I feel like he can really put a great house together. I'm really excited to see these shrimp rooms and all these rooms come together. And I'm curious to look up the listing myself.
Yeah, David doesn't even need a beautiful assistant. He just shoos him away. Dean talks about how she learned how independent she could be during Isabel's surgery. And that kind of lines up because she was kind of beaten down by the family for quite a while and just in mom mode. Focused.
Imagine being Isabel and you're the most upset about your mom moving on, and really it was your stuff is what propelled her into leaving her family.
I didn't even think about that. You're totally right. Poor Isabel.
I know. Prayers for Isabel.
Yes, thoughts and prayers. Then we move on about some money things, and Jenelle is talking both to Christine and in her confessional about how in the later years the money was sort of just spent and it wasn't necessarily like a committee anymore like it used to be. They didn't prioritize certain things together. Kody was just spending money and he was spending a lot of money.
Yeah, well, in Flagstaff, they weren't right up on each other. So it was a lot easier for him to spend money, especially with COVID. He wasn't even around them. So
he didn't even have to be there to answer at the same time. I love how Jenelle says he loves this mantra. That's not really a mantra to continuously say that someone was in charge of the finances, but if you want to call it a mantra, that's fine.
She's still saying debatable.
So many variations too. I can't figure out what she thinks she's saying.
it's subtitling her as saying available. So
I know, but even when she'll use it sometimes in the context where she should be saying available, but she says it that way. But then even in this episode, she was talking about something when she was comparing David. She says, well, David is a lot more available. But I don't think she's referring to available physically. I think she's referring to agreeable, actually, in that word. So I don't know if she uses all these able, like able, agreeable, available, and she just puts it all together and calls it available.
I don't know.
I'd like to ask her if we ever do a cameo. I want her to explain herself.
Yeah, what's debatable?
Cody's frustrated.
Yeah, Kody don't want to sell it. In the same breath of him not wanting to talk about the land, he decides he wants to talk about the kids' birthing future.
Yeah, really
Yeah,
strange. And for some reason, when he reflects on having these conversations about these kids, he starts crying about how it's happening on the land. Do you know what he's referencing? What kind of connection it is that he's talking about kids on the land that makes him emotional?
You would think it'd have to do with his own, but I think that he doesn't like talking about who they're gonna date and getting married and them having kids and like growing up, basically. And he wants to avoid that in the same way he's avoiding this land.
I understand. Thank you. Yes,
you would think it'd be about his own kids, everybody being on the land together, but that's what I got.
It's a special place where hard conversations are possible.
Because this is when I kind of peeped, and I probably should have peeped this a while back, but he refers to his biological kids with Christine and Jenelle as Christine's kids, Janelle's kids. I never hear him say anything to Meri except for "you have but one child." So I don't know if it's Mary's kid, but right. He says about Robyn's kids, Robyn and our kids.
Right.
So I do find that quite interesting that is his subconscious go-to is to call her kids our kids. Right. But everyone else's kids, who are his kids,
are the mom's kids.
Their kids.
Yeah. Yeah, that is interesting, isn't it? I think it says a lot about where his head's at when it comes to his kids.
Now that's an entendre. Or what was she saying?
Oh, a mantra.
Oh, that's a mantra.
That's a mantra.
Yes. But he's asking these freshly graduated girls from high school about their birthing plans. Let them find a church first. They're stressed about that. I guess it's a normal conversation that parents have with their kids in a way. But Kody and Robyn are just too into this kind of stuff. So it just feels weird from them.
Yeah, it's interesting to me how everything has to be tied back into what it's like to live in plural marriage and polygamy, even for them. And it seems like they know this whole song and dance because they both bring it up themselves too. They keep referring to, well, we want a big family, but not a big family when it comes to a plural family. We want a big family and a monogamous. It just always has to be about that, even to the point where it seems like this one, Brianna, she even says stuff defending polygamy. And I feel like she's only saying that because of her mom. Because she knows that her mom would still rather be a plural wife. But Kody's over here like, talk shit about plural. I don't care. And yet he's so mad that he's a monogamous now, a forced monogamous.
He wasn't forced to be a monogamous. He chose to be a monogamous. He could have chose back 4 or 5 years ago at this point where we're filming today in 2025. He could have chose when COVID was happening, when they moved to Flagstaff to be more present in the other wives' lives. But no, he chose the wife that had the youngest kids because they couldn't be without me. Not the children, although my other children had to go without me a lot when they was children. But it's just the favoritism is just so obvious. And Kody almost got to a point last season where he pretty much told us there was favoritism. He's like, I only love the one wife. Mm-hmm. And now we're getting a bunch of
our kids, their kids. It's pretty clear where the boundaries are.
Yep.
So this is pretty much where they leave us. Kody says it was a really precious, wonderful day on his precious, wonderful land with his shy and pretty wife and his quiet children. So
I bet throwing something.
I was wondering that too, but I don't know. Was he throwing more axes into the wood?
I don't.
It might be. It looks like about the length of an axe.
What the hell?
No one's protected.
Nobody is protected.
This
is a beautiful view. I'm not going to lie. Gorgeous. But I feel like that mountain is big enough you can probably see it from a lot of places.
You could see it from their own house, and their own house isn't far from Coyote Pass.
Right.
But the thing that I don't understand is you can sit here and you can love the view, but build on it or don't. You're going to sit here for 10 more years of limbo because both you and your wife are the same and not wanting to deal with things. I think the only reasons committee meetings actually happen is because the other wives were more proactive.
I think so. Yeah, definitely Meri and Jenelle. And they're the ones that are going to move this process along too. And that's why they're getting lawyers, because they really can't force Kody to do anything unless they're suing him. So
Good for them.
good for them. So next time, which apparently is the mid-season finale, I don't even know what that means, yet to be determined. Jenelle is finally moving, and Kody finds that out. There's rumors he finds that out through the production, and that causes drama, but we'll see how much we get led into that.
Well, what drama can it cause? Savannah's an adult now. They don't visit each other. They haven't seen each other since episode, 3?
I think Jenelle didn't want Kody to know where she was in particular.
If I was Jenelle, I wouldn't want Kody to know that I'm getting 156 acres of land.
That's what I'm
then he'll be
saying.
like, oh, you don't need this land. You're getting that land.
No, I don't think Jenelle really wanted Kody to know what she was up to, or she would have shared that with him.
If I was Jenelle, though, I might have shared with him that I was moving to be closer to Maddie, maybe.
But I think a lot more was shared than what Jenelle would have shared with Kody herself for show. Which one is it? I get all Robyn's girls as the Sobbins confused. One of them wants to get baptized.
I think it was Aurora. Maybe both of them, but
probably it will probably end up being both of them. But then Kody and Robyn are going to act really distraught or confused about that, even though that's kind of the next natural process when you're involving yourself in a religion and you sort of commit to it.
Well, and they're also adults. They can choose to be baptized.
Just like they could have chosen what religion they wanted to involve themselves in and figure that all out on their own. But I think Kody and Robyn keep them really close, even though they know they're adults. I think they also feel like in order to be, shy and quiet and pretty and obedient, they need to stay close to their parents.
Keep sweet.
Yes.
I feel like they're setting these kids up for failure. Like, what are you going to do? Go to job interviews with them as well?
Probably, if they could. So for Meri next time, I don't really know exactly what's going on. I think she's going back and forth about if she wants to fully move into the B&B or if she wants to wait to find a man and see what he's up to and what he wants to do. Because she talks about, I'm not sure if I want to move in here or if I have a man, what their situation is going to be. So I don't know exactly what she's referring to, but she's talking about her living situation a little bit.
She must be thinking she's going to be moving as fast as Christine or something. Just relax, Meri.
I think maybe Amos is starting to get involved at this point. That's the only reason I could think why she'd even be thinking about being in a relationship if she wasn't already in at least one.
Older people do also move faster, I think. Like, we ain't got much time left. Let's be together.
Well, didn't we already bring a U-Haul to the B&B? What else are you moving? Unless she's thinking about moving somewhere else. I don't know. So we'll see. And then Jenelle is going to take some shots at the bar with Christine and David and kind of reflect on how much her life is about to change. And sadly, her life is about to change a lot.
And probably about how much better David is than Kody. I'm sure we're going to get that at some point.
Oh, yeah. I bet they never sat in a bar and did shots and cans with Kody.
I'm going to have to start taking shots every time they tell me that David's better than Kody.
I don't know if we're going to make it to filming if that's the case.
Well, Chick Chat, thank you for joining us for this pre-season, mid-season break.
Whatever it is, we're here for it.
Like, subscribe, do the things.
Click the copy link.
Just click it.
Just click it. And just click share, copy link.
And if you want to share it, share it.
Yes. Share it with your friends, share it with your mom, share it with your colleagues, share it with your daughters, your sons, aunts, your uncles.
Your uncle, dads, whatever you got going on.
I actually have an uncle grandpa.
Exactly.
Your uncle grandpas. Share it near and wide and far and low. Goodbye.
Yep. Goodbye.